What's up, what's up, what's up? It's your boy Domuto. We're back with another video. Today we are watching JxmyHighroller, and we're watching what the fuck this? How to lose an MVP award in 10 seconds. Yeah, so we've been a lot of discussion about the 65 game rule, and to get up to be eligible for any award. And to be honest, that's always been like a thing. People don't understand. It's always been a thing. I know people been complaining about it. Like, I feel like it's always been a thing. Like, you gotta at least play a certain amount of games to get an award. Like, that's always been like a under the table thing, you know, that people always talk about. 65 games is damn near what, 20 games, almost 20 games. Like, damn, like. I mean, I get if you get actually get injured, you know what I'm saying? I don't know how long Embiid is going to be out. So Embiid shouldn't be complaining if you're going to be out longer than 65 games. I mean, longer than you're going to miss more than 65 games. I mean, if you play like 50 games, and then you shouldn't get a MVP award. No, most definitely not. But anyway, let's get into it.
Is there a difference between the best player in the NBA and the most valuable player in the NBA? It's a bit of a loaded question, but with what's going on in the NBA right now, I think the question is more relevant than ever. In 1998, Michael Jordan was the best player in the NBA off of sheer skill and ability, but he was also the most valuable player in the NBA because of his impact on the Bulls for 82 games of the season. But seasons like this are usually an exception. The difference between the best and the most valuable are almost never this black and white. In 2011, Derrick Rose won the league's Most Valuable Player award, despite the fact that LeBron was unanimously considered the best player in the NBA at the time. In a league loaded with all-time great talents in the mid-2000s, Steve Nash won back-to-back MVPs, even though he was never considered the best player in the NBA. How good a player is and how valuable they are two very different things. How valuable is a player despite how incredible they are if they can't stay on the court? And how valuable can a player be if they aren't nearly as great, but they are always ready and available? Because right now, I think we're learning the harsh answer to this question.
Joel actually injured though. I'm not saying he ain't sitting out. I feel like Joel has actually been injured throughout most of his career.
Attention all football fans. This is the last weekend of the year to get your football bets in. And I've teamed up with DraftKings to make your Sunday even better. DraftKings Sportsbook. Last summer, the National Basketball Players Association and the NBA signed a new collective bargaining agreement. And within the terms of this new agreement was one requirement in particular that really caught the attention of fans and the players. A new 65-game minimum requirement for season awards. That's all NBA team selections, Defensive Player of the Year, MVP, everything. And despite some concerns regarding this new eligibility threshold, the terms were all agreed upon and signed off by the players and the league.
Oh, then shut the fuck up, then.
65 games is just 80% of the season. In theory, this threshold shouldn't be hard to hit. At least, that's what we thought. Because just one season into this new minimum game requirement, and the worst case scenario is already playing out. Up until last week, Joel Embiid led the NBA's MVP race by a pretty wide margin. Up to this point, his season hasn't just been MVP-worthy, it has been one of the greatest offensive seasons in league history. A sort of revenge tour for the backlash he received after winning last year's MVP over Nikola Jokic. And barring some sort of major injury, the 2024 MVP award was virtually his. And then, almost as if it was written in the script, Embiid sustains a major injury, causing him to make.
I feel like people are not complaining that Embiid won last year. I think people just complain that this dude don't make it out the second round of the playoffs. I think that's more of the problem. Like, yeah, Embiid is great in the regular season because he was great last year in the regular season. You could say Jokic was better, but like, you don't play up to this regular season level in the playoffs. That's the problem with Joel Embiid. I think that's the problem most people have with Joel Embiid winning last year.
missed too many games, making him ineligible for the MVP
Time
award.
and time again.
This is,
every
without
playoffs.
question, the worst
Almost
possible
every playoffs.
outcome for not only
He's been playing,
Embiid,
like,
but for the NBA's
below
new
what
agreement
he's
with the
been doing
players, making a new rule
regular
that
season.
seemed reasonable at the time look completely unfair and unreasonable in hindsight, even though it's not. In fact, the new 65-game rule is a benefit to the players, not a detriment. See, over the last 3 decades, NBA player salaries have increased almost exponentially, product of a massive increase in league revenue thanks largely in part to new, more expansive media deals. Large broadcasting companies fight for the rights to NBA media with massive checks, and in return, the NBA provides an exclusive premier product. In 2014, just a decade ago, the NBA signed a 9-year TV deal worth $24 billion, a deal that dwarfed all of their previous contracts combined. At the start of the 2025 NBA season, their new TV rights kick in, a deal that is worth an estimated $75 billion. And what would a healthy business transaction be without some guarantees and stipulations? The networks and entities picking up these contracts want certainty that once this deal kicks in, they are investing in a healthy, growing product, a deal that benefits everyone. According to hoopshype.com, the median NBA salary over just the past 5 years has increased from $2.5 million to
NBA niggas want us to shorten the season. NBA niggas want us to not care that they sit out. Nigga, y'all stop getting as many back-to-backs. Y'all barely get back-to-backs anymore. You know, and and everybody signing big fat contracts, regardless if we take the tax out of it or not, nigga. You getting millions of dollars regardless, nigga. I hate listening to like a podcast and NBA put like, oh, but you see the sign for the money, much money, but the government tax half of it, nigga. You still a millionaire. You still a millionaire, nigga. Nigga, they be taxing the fuck out my little $1,000 check, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn.
$4 million. And once the new CBA deal kicks in, this number might even double within the next few years. The league-wide minimum salary has drastically increased as well, from just $500,000 in 2014 to $1.1 million
some of y'all niggas can add
in 2015,
Nike
there
deal,
were only 8
deals
players in the NBA making at least $20 million. This season, there are, wait for it, there's a lot of them, 75 players making at least $20 million. This league salary does not exist without the CBA and without stipulations. League-wide, every player benefits from these ever-increasing deals locked in by bargaining agreements. And in return, the companies who are paying up want to make sure that they're getting the best product possible.
Right.
And after seeing teams resting and sitting star players, they felt it was necessary to add this 65-game minimum requirement to ensure the quality of their investment. Could this requirement hurt a handful of star players in the long run? Sure, injuries happen. Not every game missed is intentional. But do these requirements also help lock in deals that benefit every single player around the league? Yes. But this only addresses one side of the issue. Because with these new requirements, us fans are winning too. Star players around the league are playing far more games this season than they did in the past few years. Here are the 15 All-NBA players from last season. And through January of last season versus through January of this season, only 3 of these 15 players have played less games this season compared to last season. At this point last year, the top 15 players around the league missed 117 games. This season, they've only missed 76. That's a decrease of nearly 55% of games missed. But even players who won't really be negatively affected by this new 65-game minimum are on the court far more often since this new rule kicked in. If we take a look at the top 50 players around the league in the 2022-2023 season, according to Box Plus Minus, essentially the league's 50 premier players, then here are those players and the number of games they missed through January of last season. 595. This season, in the first year of this new league-wide game minimum requirement, and those same exact 50 players have missed just 406 games. That is a decrease of nearly 45% of games missed from the league's 50 premier players. Now, 50 players across half an NBA season is not a small sample size. Is it a coincidence that all of these players are collectively playing nearly 50% more often than they were just last season? Probably not. But I think we're overlooking the most important part about this idea of a player being available and just how important that is to a team. After all, they say availability is the best ability. And although I don't know if I agree with this statement, there is a tipping point where a player who isn't nearly as good as another player starts to become more valuable simply because he's on the court more. For example, I think most people would agree that Stephen Curry was better than Donovan Mitchell last season, and all of the numbers would support this, especially this one, the estimated plus-minus metric, which has Curry as the 9th best player last season and Mitchell as the 21st best player last season. But if we look at the estimated wins metric, which factors in how impactful a player was and the amount of minutes they played, then Donovan Mitchell jumps to the 8th most valuable player, while Curry falls to 12th, because Mitchell played 68 games while Curry only played 56.
Damn.
There is a stark difference between the best player and the most valuable player. And although there isn't an argument for Mitchell being better than Curry, there is an argument that he was more valuable to his team because he simply played more games and made an impact on winning more often.
And I just did the math in my head, like, bro, 65 games. Even if you want to sit out, when people want to sit out a game or two, nigga, the NBA starts in October, and the NBA ends in what, May, April? Nigga, if you miss, that's like 7 months. That's like 7 months, right? Nigga, 2 games a month. 2 games a month, right there, man. That's just like 14 games. You still make the 65 game thing. So I don't. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, what I know.
This season, this same exact concept is unfolding on a much larger scale. When Joel Embiid is on the court, he is a monster. Even his biggest cynics couldn't deny the MVP run that he was on. And according to estimated plus minus, which again, essentially looks at how good a player is, Embiid has been the best player in the league this season with an EPM of 10.1, followed by Shea, Giannis, and Jokic. But when it comes to estimated wins, Embiid falls to the 4th spot behind those same 3 players. The sole factor behind this is because he's only played 70% as many games as they have. At the end of the day, would you rather have 60 games from an MVP caliber player or 80 games from an All-NBA or even All-Star caliber player? I think the overall concept for this new 65-game minimum requirement for awards is generally a good thing. We will inevitably see some of the downsides to the rule, but overall, the good that will come from it will far outweigh the bad. Some players may not like it, but it's the players and their decisions that led to this point in the first place. With the regular season becoming more irrelevant and disconnected from the postseason, with more players strategically sitting out games and picking and choosing when they want to play, the league had no choice but to enforce this new rule. Over the last 30 seasons, here are the percentage of games played by players who made All-NBA teams. Throughout the 90s and 2000s, the top players around the league played in about 91 to 95% of all games. In fact, prior to 2018, this number only dipped below 90% one time. But over the past 6 seasons, superstars around the league have been playing less and less, bottoming out last season at just 81.5% of games played on average. Dang. But this season, would you look at that? The players who are projected to make an All-NBA team are on track to playing 92% of
making
all
an All-NBA team, All-Stars.
Some may not like it, but the new rule is working. I think playing 80% of the season is a reasonable standard for the best players in the world.
I don't think they have a problem with 65 games. I think that is on paper, and now it's a big thing. I think that's what I have a problem with, because it's always been kind of a low-key rule, because I can't think, not too many awards where people who play less than a certain amount of games won the actual award. Like, I'm trying to think. I think I saw somebody prove Draymond Green wrong when he said that Kawhi won the Defensive Player of the Year when he played 50 games one season. Nigga, somebody proved that wrong and said no, he played 64 games, so he was a game off from what he needed and won the award. So I mean, and I'm pretty sure if that rule was in, Kawhi would have played the extra game. right? I got that from Legend of Waiting. Shout out to Legend of Waiting, but.
And if a player can't hit that standard, he's either not as valuable as the players who did, or he had the misfortune of sustaining an injury, which has and will always be a huge unknown factor in sports. But still, even after all this, it seems like fans are torn on this minimum game requirement. So what do y'all think? Is the rule too strict? Should there even be a minimum game requirement for season awards at all? Should they make exceptions to this rule for circumstances like Embiid's? What will be the lasting effects of this new eligibility requirement? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And as always,
and another problem, right? You know, good video about JxmyHighroller. And another problem, right, is that like every certain game where niggas be sitting out, or when players be sitting out, it be like a key matchup game. Like, why the fuck you sitting out? Like, you know, Joel Embiid probably actually hurt, but he sat out against the Nuggets game. Like, why you sitting out against Jokic, nigga? Fuck you, you know what I'm saying? Play that nigga. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to see Tatum sitting out against Jimmy Butler. Play Jimmy Butler, son. I don't want to see fucking Curry sitting out, or LeBron or Curry sitting out against each other when they play each other. When the Warriors play the Lakers, like, no, play them. That's a key matchup, nigga. It's on ESPN, TNT. It's a key matchup. That's why it's on TV. That's why I got TV games. You know what I'm saying? Why y'all sitting out on TV games? National TV games. You know what I'm saying? Y'all want to, if you want to sit out against the Hornets or something, that okay, cool. You know what I'm saying? Nobody cares for the Hornets. You know, but I don't know. Anyway. Shout out to JxmyHighroller for this video. Make sure you check out my last JxmyHighroller video that I reacted to. Check out maybe another basketball video or something right here. And make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.